Okay, so next thing we're going to be talking about is parasitic infestations of the skin. And so there's going to be two types that we're going to talk about here. So there's two types. And the first one we're going to talk about is scabies. And then we will talk about pediculosis, which is lice. And that's going to be in a different video. So pediculosis, and you guys know this as, like I just said, you guys know it as lice. Let me make that E a little bit better here. Okay, so those are the two types. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about is scabies, like we just said. All right, and so for the most part, scabies is caused by Sarcoptes scabii. I'm going to write it down here because I don't want to run out of room. Okay, so what these do is it burrows under the skin. What burrows means it kind of like digs a little tunnel under the skin. And the reason it does this is so it can lay its eggs. All right, so here's what's going to happen on this is if you have this, it's going to cause itching. So it causes intense itching on the skin. Okay, and not only does it have the itching, but it's going to cause little snake-like lines that are elevated. Elevated, snake-like. Did I get all that in there? Lines on the skin. So now you got the itching, and you got the snake-like lines on the skin. The lines are usually less than 1 millimeter wide. So to give you an idea, chances are these lines right here, like this line here, that's over 1 millimeter. Maybe that's about 1 millimeter. But to give you an idea of what it is. So how do people get it? It's transferred from person to person by contact. So someone else has to have it. Okay, does that make sense? And then these will live about 25 days. When we have a bug like this, we call it a mite. So the mite lives about 25 days. But by then, it has reproduced and its offspring have already hatched. So you can see it's a pretty quick lifespan. I mean, basically they're born and they lay their eggs and then they die. How do we diagnose this? We're going to diagnose this by looking at the skin scrapings under a microscope. And you're going to look for eggs or the mite itself. So you can see, if you need a microscope, you can see these are actually pretty small. And it's pretty common. It's about 500,000 cases a year. Okay, and that's basically it on the notes for scabies. Let's go ahead and take a look. And so if you take a look here, you can see these are the mites here. There's one there, and there's one there. Obviously, these are very microscopic, but you can see they're not too good. They're not too good looking of guys there. So that's an example of what these look like. Okay, and here's another picture of what they look like also. So you can see the little elevated lines here. These don't look exactly snake-like, but you can still see that you get the little elevated bumps there. One other thing too that I didn't mention is that scabies, if you get it down on your private parts, it's known as crabs. So that's it for scabies.